It's pretty amazing how sometimes a single sentence can just pack in a whole profound lesson about life, right? Like a simple string of words that can act as a powerful blueprint for how we grow. And today, we're going to dive into one of those very sentences. It's a really beautiful thought, isn't it? But it's so much more than just a nice saying. It's actually a powerful metaphor for personal growth, one that really echoes ideas you see in psychology, all about resilience and adversity. So, in this explainer, we're going to unpack it piece by piece.
So, how do we take this from just a simple quote and turn it into a practical framework for our own lives? Well, it all starts by looking past the pretty words to find the powerful principle that's kind of hidden inside, a real guide for how we develop.
The quote kicks off with a challenge. Don't be afraid to go through storms. I mean, that's a pretty bold command, but before we can stop being afraid of them, we really need to understand what these storms actually are in the context of our lives. In this metaphor, you see, storms aren't just random negative things that happen to us. They're actually framed as necessary parts of the journey. They are those periods of turbulence, the moments that really test us and kind of force us to confront difficulty head on. And this is not some abstract idea. No, we're talking about very real, universal experiences. Storms can be professional setbacks, right? The sting of a failure, those periods of crippling self-doubt, or the deep pain of a personal loss. They're the tough times that absolutely nobody asks for, but every single one of us goes through. Okay, so let's look at how the metaphor builds from here. The quote brings in two key ingredients, sun and rain. And what's so brilliant about this is that it presents them not as good versus bad, but as two equally essential, though very different, forces that are needed for anything to grow. And what's just fascinating here is the duality it sets up. The sun, that's pretty straightforward. It's joy, it's success, all the good times that give us energy and just make life feel bright. The rain, on the other hand, well, that represents the struggle. But notice its function. It provides nourishment. It's in those difficult moments that we build resilience and learn lessons we simply couldn't learn with constant sunshine. One gives us reasons to celebrate, and the other gives us reasons to get stronger. So, we've got our core elements, the storms, the sun, and the rain. But how do they actually come together to create growth? Well, it's not an accident. It's a process. Let's take a look at the sequence that leads to that bloom. This lays out the path just perfectly. And notice the order here. You can't get to the sunshine without first enduring the storm and, this is crucial, absorbing the lessons of the rain. Each step is basically a prerequisite for the next, and it all culminates in the bloom, which isn't just getting back to normal, but it's a state of newfound strength and potential. That is the very definition of becoming more resilient. Understanding this whole process lets us adopt a completely new perspective. Challenges are no longer just obstacles we need to avoid. Instead, they become an integral part of our story, the very rain that nourishes our future growth. So, if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The crucial point is that you cannot have the bloom without both the sun and the rain. We can't just have the good times. Real, meaningful growth is forged in that interplay between our joy and our struggles. They aren't opposing forces. They are partners in our development. And that leaves us with a final thought to reflect on. I want you to look at your own life right now, the good and the bad, the easy and the difficult, and ask yourself what sun and what rain are helping you bloom.